everyone. Welcome back to Easy Speak World with Maya and Ethan, your favorite place where you learn real English through real conversations. Okay, so can I ask you something a little personal right at the start today? When was the last time someone asked you, so what are your plans for the future? And you just froze, like completely blanked. Your mouth opened, but nothing came out. And then you said something like, oh, I'm still figuring things out. And the other person just nodded. But inside you're thinking, wait, am I though? Am I actually figuring things out or am I just existing?
Yeah, that is painfully accurate.
Right? And the thing is, it's not that you have no plans. You have thoughts, ideas, dreams even. But the moment someone asks you out loud, in English or any language, it feels like your brain just shuts down. And I think that's what we're talking about today. And as always, I've got Ethan here with me. And Ethan, honestly, this topic came from a real moment I had last week.
Yeah, Maya, I was actually going to bring this up too because I had almost the exact same thing happen to me. Someone asked me at a dinner, completely casually, so where do you see yourself in 5 years? And I just laughed awkwardly and changed the subject, which is its own kind of answer, I suppose.
The classic deflect. I've done that too. But here's what I find so interesting. We have all these feelings about the future: hope, excitement, fear, confusion, sometimes all at once, but we don't always have the English words to express those feelings clearly. And that's the gap we want to close today.
Exactly. And not just the words, but how to talk about plans in a way that sounds natural, not rehearsed, not like a job interview, like a real human being.
Yes, because the way native speakers talk about the future is actually really different from what you might learn in a textbook. It's messier, more honest, and honestly, that messiness is what makes it real.
If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that like button right now. It genuinely helps us reach more learners like you. And subscribe if you haven't already, because we drop new episodes every week. Oh, and leave a comment below. Are you more of a big planner? You love making lists and goals? Or are you more of a go-with-the-flow type? We really want to know. We read every comment.
And honestly, there's no right answer to that question. I used to think planning was everything. Then life happened and I realized, okay, maybe not everything.
Yeah, life has a way of doing that. Okay, so let's actually get into it. Let's start with something that I think a lot of people can relate to. The uncomfortable moment when someone asks you about your future plans and you just don't know what to say.
So I want to paint a picture. You're at a family gathering, maybe a wedding, maybe a holiday dinner, and your aunt, who you only see twice a year, comes up to you with this big smile. And she says, so what are you up to these days? What's the plan?
Oh no, I felt that in my chest just now.
Right? And the thing is, she's not being mean. She genuinely wants to know. But somehow that question, what's the plan, carries so much weight, like you're suddenly being evaluated, judged, graded on your life choices.
That's so real. And what's funny, or maybe not funny, maybe just ironic, is that the people who ask that question most often don't have it all figured out either. They just learned how to communicate where they are, what they're thinking, what direction they're heading, even if that direction is still a little blurry.
Exactly. And I think there's this idea that if your plan isn't 100% solid, if you don't have every step mapped out, then you can't talk about it. But that's just not true. Some of the best conversations I've had about the future started with someone saying, I'm not totally sure yet, but I think I want to.
See, that's the thing. I think I want to. That phrase alone opens so many doors in a conversation. It invites the other person in. It's honest. It's human.
And that's actually our first little English lesson hidden right there. Let's talk about some of the phrases native speakers use when they talk about plans, and specifically the difference between phrases that sound rigid and formal versus phrases that sound natural and open.
Okay, so think about how a textbook might tell you to talk about the future. It would probably say, I am going to study medicine. I plan to become a doctor. Which, yes, grammatically fine. But does that sound like how people actually talk?
It sounds like a CV or a statement to a judge.
Yeah, exactly. So compare that to how a friend might actually say it. I'm kind of leaning towards medicine. I've always been interested in it. I'm just not 100% sure yet. That's the same information, but it sounds real. And the key phrase there is leaning towards. Leaning towards means you're moving in a direction, but you haven't fully committed yet. I'm leaning towards taking a year off before university. Very natural and casual conversation.
I love that phrase, and it's so versatile. You can use it for anything, where you want to live, what career you want, even what you want for lunch. I'm leaning towards the pasta.
Honestly, life's most important decisions. Another one I use all the time is I've been thinking about, as in, I've been thinking about starting my own business. It signals that you're serious, you've been giving it real thought, but you haven't made it official yet. I've been thinking about, plus noun or ing verb, shows ongoing reflection. More weight than I want to, but less committed than I'm going to. Very natural for sharing plans in conversation.
Okay, and here's one I think people underuse. I'm hoping to. Like, I'm hoping to move abroad next year. There's something so warm and honest about that phrase. It's not arrogant, it's not weak, it's just real.
I'm hoping to, plus base verb, expresses a genuine wish or intention with some acknowledgement that it depends on things going well. I'm hoping to finish my degree by next June. Sounds humble and sincere.
Right. And compare that to just saying, I will move abroad. One feels human, the other feels like you're issuing a statement.
Yes, unless you are actually very confident about it, in which case I'm moving abroad next year works great. The present continuous for future plans, that one is supernatural for things you've already decided.
Good distinction. I'm moving versus I'm hoping to move. Same idea, very different levels of certainty. And knowing which one to use is actually a big part of sounding natural in English. Okay, but let's be honest for a second, because there's a reason people freeze when someone asks about their plans. And it's not just a language problem. It's emotional, right?
Completely. I mean, there's this underlying pressure, especially when you're young or when you're in a transition period, this idea that you should know, that by a certain age you should have your whole life mapped out. And if you don't, something's wrong with you.
Oh, absolutely. And that pressure doesn't come from nowhere. It comes from family, from social media, where everyone seems to be achieving, growing, launching something. And then you look at your own life and think, I'm just trying to get through the week.
Huh. Wait, that's so real. And I think what social media does, which is genuinely damaging, is it only shows you people's highlights. The moment they got the job, the day they moved to a new city, not the 3 years of uncertainty that led up to that.
Exactly. And this is where I think fear comes in, because the honest answer to what are your plans is sometimes, I don't know, and that scares me a little. But we're not taught to say that. We're taught to present confidence even when we don't feel it.
Right, and here's the thing though, and this is something I've genuinely come to believe. Uncertainty isn't failure. Not knowing yet isn't the same as going nowhere. Those are really different things.
Oh, that's worth repeating. Uncertainty isn't failure. You're allowed to be in the middle of figuring it out. And actually, in English, there are really beautiful phrases for that in-between space, the space where you're not lost, but you're not arrived yet either.
Yes, and this is actually where the language gets really interesting, because English has so many ways to express that in-between, and knowing them makes you sound incredibly natural and thoughtful. Stay with us. Later in the episode, we'll share some powerful phrases you can use to talk about your plans with confidence, even when things aren't completely clear yet.
Okay, so the first phrase for that in-between space, and I genuinely love this one, is I'm figuring things out. But the key is how you say it, not apologetically, not with shame, with openness. Yeah, I'm still figuring things out. It's actually been a pretty exciting process. I'm figuring things out means you're actively working through decisions, exploring options, much better than I don't know. It sounds dynamic, not stuck. Pair it with something positive to show ownership. I'm figuring things out. I've been doing a lot of research.
That reframe is everything. I'm figuring things out is forward motion. I don't know is a wall. One invites conversation, the other closes it.
Yes, and another really useful one, I'm keeping my options open. This is incredibly common in native English conversation. I haven't committed to anything yet. I'm keeping my options open. It sounds mature, intentional, like you're making a strategic decision, not avoiding one. Keep your options open means you're deliberately not committing to one path yet, staying flexible. After graduation, I'm planning to keep my options open for a while. Common and very natural.
Here's one I use when I want to express possibility without making a big promise. There's a chance I might. As in, there's a chance I might go back to school next year. I'm still weighing it up. Low pressure, honest, conversational.
There's a chance I might, plus base verb, a soft way of raising a possibility, less committed than I'm planning to. There's a chance I might move to a different city. It depends on a few things. Sounds thoughtful, not uncertain. Oh, and the phrase weighing it up, that's great too. It means you're thinking carefully about the pros and cons. I'm weighing up my options. It sounds like you're in control of the process. Weigh up or weigh your options to carefully consider the advantages and disadvantages of something before making a decision. I'm weighing up whether to take the job offer. Very common in British and Australian English, also used in American English.
And here's a slightly different angle. What about when things are going well, but you're being careful not to count your chickens, as they say? The phrase I like there is, if everything goes to plan.
Ooh, yes. If everything goes to plan, I should be finished with my course by summer. It's confident but not arrogant. You're acknowledging that things can change. If everything goes to plan is used when you're optimistic about an outcome but aware that circumstances could change. Also here, if all goes well, if things work out, very natural in both spoken and written English.
Let's do a quick contrast. Textbook versus natural English. I'll say the textbook version, you say the natural one. Ready?
Okay, let's go.
Textbook. I intend to pursue a career in technology.
Natural. I'm really interested in tech, actually. I've been thinking about going into software, still working out the details.
Perfect. Textbook. I do not have definite plans at this moment in time.
Natural. Honestly, I'm keeping my options open right now. There are a few things I'm weighing up. See how that sounds so much more confident and relaxed, even though it's saying the same thing?
That's the shift. And I want listeners to really absorb that. The words you choose don't just communicate information, they shape how people perceive you. And when you speak with natural, relaxed English, you immediately seem more confident, even if you're not feeling 100% confident inside.
Fake it till you make it, but in the best possible way. And actually, Ethan, I want to get into something a bit deeper here because we've been talking about language, but I think there's something underneath the language that trips people up even more. And that's the whole question of, what do you actually want?
Oh, yeah, that's the deeper layer, isn't it?
Because sometimes we can't talk about our plans clearly in English or in any language because we haven't actually given ourselves permission to want things. Like, what do you want? Not what your parents want, not what looks logical on paper. What do you actually want?
That question can be genuinely uncomfortable. I remember when I was younger, I had this very clear plan that was basically just what I thought I should do. Study this, work here, achieve that. And it wasn't until I was about midway through it that I thought, wait, do I actually want this? Or did I just absorb it from somewhere?
Yes, and I think that's such an important distinction to make in English conversation. The difference between saying I'm supposed to versus I want to. Those two phrases carry very different energy. I'm supposed to versus I want to. Supposed to implies external expectation or obligation. I'm supposed to start working after graduation. I want to expresses genuine desire. I want to travel for a year first. Notice the emotional difference and how knowing which one to use makes your English far more authentic.
And there's a third one, which I love. I feel called to. As in, I feel called to work with people, something in healthcare or teaching maybe. It's a more spiritual, almost poetic phrase, but it's completely natural and it's really powerful when you use it genuinely.
Ooh, I like that one. And it comes with this quiet confidence, like you're not trying to convince anyone, you're just sharing something true about yourself.
Okay, I want to shift gears slightly here because I think we've covered the emotional side really well. The pressure, the uncertainty, the permission to not know. But I also want to talk about the practical side. Because once you've figured out what you want, even roughly, how do you actually start moving towards it?
Yes, good, because I think there's this gap between I have a dream and I'm actually doing something about it. And a lot of people live in that gap for a really long time.
Totally. And I think the gap stays wide for one of a few reasons. 1, the plan feels too big. 2, you don't know where to start. 3, fear of failure. And 4, you're waiting for the perfect moment, which, spoiler alert, never comes.
Oh, the perfect moment trap. I fell into that for years with certain things. I'll start when I have more time. I'll start when I'm more prepared. And then a year passes and you've neither had more time nor become more prepared.
There's actually a phrase in English that I think is really useful here. Take the first step. It sounds simple, almost cliched, but it's cliched because it's true. The first step is almost always the hardest, not the 10th step or the 20th, the first one.
And in English conversation, when you're talking about starting something new, there are some great phrases you can use that signal momentum, real movement, not just a wish, but an action.
Give me one.
I've started looking into it. That's huge. It's such a small phrase, but it means so much. I've started looking into studying abroad. That means you've Googled it, you've read about it, you've done something. It's not just in your head anymore. I've started looking into plus noun or ing, signals early action on a plan, more concrete than I'm thinking about. I've started looking into online courses for coding, shows initiative and forward movement.
Here's what I really like. I'm working towards getting my certification. Not I want to get, not I'm thinking about getting. I'm actively working towards it. There's movement in that phrase.
I'm working towards plus noun or ing implies active, ongoing effort directed at a goal. I'm working towards launching my own business by the end of the year, one of the most powerful phrases for sounding confident and purposeful. Yes, and honestly, using I'm working towards can actually motivate you. Like if you say it out loud to a friend in a conversation, it makes it feel real. There's actually some psychology behind that. Saying your goals out loud increases your commitment to them.
Interesting. I've heard that. Though I've also heard the opposite, that if you talk about your goals too much, you get the feeling of accomplishment without actually doing the work. So there's a balance.
Ooh, that's a good counterpoint. So maybe the key is talk about what you're actively doing, not just what you want to do. I'm working towards rather than I really want to someday.
Exactly. Language that reflects action, not just aspiration. And I think there's a real difference in English between what I'd call aspirational language and action language. Both have their place, but knowing which one you're using is important.
Okay, that's actually a great framework. Aspirational language, I'd love to travel the world one day. Action language, I've booked my first trip, I leave in March. Both are valid, but they communicate completely different levels of commitment.
And people respond to them differently too. When you say, I'd love to one day, people smile and nod. When you say, I leave in March, they lean forward, they ask questions, they get excited with you.
Ah, yes. I love that image, leaning forward versus just nodding politely. That's actually a perfect way to think about it from an English learner's perspective. The language you use determines the energy you get back from the conversation.
And it's not about forcing yourself to have everything decided. It's about being able to show where you are on the journey, even if that's, I've just started. I don't have all the answers yet, but I'm moving.
Okay, let's do a quick vocabulary round now. Some really useful phrases grouped by how committed they sound. Think of it like a scale from I'm dreaming about this all the way to I'm doing this. Ready?
Let's do it.
Level 1, a dream, early stage, I've always wanted to. For example, I've always wanted to learn a musical instrument. It's a long-held wish, not a plan yet, just a want.
Level 2, you're thinking about it seriously. I'm seriously considering a career change. That word seriously signals that this is no longer just a passing thought. You're giving it real attention.
I'm seriously considering plus noun or ing shows you've moved past the daydream stage. I'm seriously considering going freelance. Sounds mature and deliberate.
And level 3, you've made a decision. I've decided to, or I've made up my mind. I've decided to apply for the program. Clean, clear, no ambiguity. This is the one you use when the decision is done.
And made up my mind has this great finality to it, like conversation over, decision made, moving on. Yes. And level 4, action is already underway. I've already started taking classes. That word already does so much work. It says, I didn't just think about it, I began.
I've already started plus noun or ing, the most powerful thing you can say when talking about a goal. It shows action, not just intention. I've already started saving for it. Immediately raises your credibility and commitment in the listener's eyes.
And here's a bonus one for when you want to talk about a goal but also show you're being realistic about it. I'm aiming for, but I'm also being realistic. Or just I'm aiming for. I'm aiming for a promotion by the end of the year, though a lot depends on the company's situation.
I'm aiming for plus noun, to set something as your target or goal while acknowledging it requires effort and is not guaranteed. I'm aiming for a distinction in my final exams, more grounded than I will get. Shows ambition with self-awareness.
Okay, so let's put it all together. Imagine someone asks you, what are your plans for the next year? And you use everything we've discussed. Here's how that might sound, naturally, fluently.
Honestly, I'm still figuring some things out, but I'm working towards finishing my certification by spring. I've already started the first module, so that feels good. After that, I'm seriously considering moving to a bigger city. I've been thinking about it for a while, and I think the timing might be right. I'm keeping my options open on exactly where, but I'm aiming to make a move by the end of next year.
Did you notice how many vocabulary phrases were in there? Still figuring things out, working towards, I've already started, seriously considering, keeping my options open, aiming to, all in one natural, confident response. That's what fluency sounds like.
And notice there's no shame in that answer, no apology. The person who said it isn't embarrassed that they don't have everything locked in. They sound like they're living an intentional life, moving with purpose, even through uncertainty.
Moving with purpose through uncertainty. Okay, that's your quote for the day, Ethan.
I'll take it.
And actually, can I ask you something, like on a personal level? What's something you're working towards right now? Genuinely.
Oh, okay. Genuine answer. I've been working towards becoming more consistent. Not with one big thing, but just across the board. I'm someone who gets excited about new ideas and then gets distracted. So right now, I'm really focused on finishing what I start, which ironically includes making sure I don't skip recording these episodes.
Well, you're here, so that's something. And I love that answer because it's not glamorous. It's not, I'm launching a company or I'm running a marathon. It's, I want to be more consistent. And that's actually a really meaningful, really brave goal.
What about you?
Honestly, I'm working towards being better at sitting with discomfort because I'm someone who jumps into action when I feel anxious. I make plans, I make lists, I want to solve things immediately. And I'm slowly learning that sometimes things just take time, and that's okay. It's not a failure, it's just life doing its thing.
That's a beautiful answer and a really difficult thing to do, being still when every instinct says move.
Right. And I think that's actually a really important message for anyone listening who's going through a period of uncertainty about their future. You don't have to have it all figured out. You're allowed to be in the process. The journey is allowed to take time.
Okay, before we wrap up, let's do a quick recap of everything we covered today, both the English and the emotional stuff, because they go together.
Yes, so emotionally, we talked about the pressure people feel when asked about their future, the idea that you should know by now, and we challenged that. Uncertainty isn't failure. The in-between is a real and valid place to be.
And on the English side, we learned a whole range of phrases across different commitment levels, from dreaming to deciding to doing, and we practiced how to string them together naturally in conversation.
And the biggest takeaway for me, the language you use shapes how people see you and how you see yourself. So choose words that reflect movement, even when you're still finding your footing. I'm figuring it out sounds so much stronger than I don't know, because it's true and it's active.
And my takeaway, give yourself permission to want things. Not the things you're supposed to want, the things you actually feel drawn to. Then start moving towards them, even slowly, even imperfectly. Just move.
Beautiful. Okay, everyone, if this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who needs to hear it, whether they're learning English or just going through a time of figuring things out, or both, because honestly, we're all just learning as we go, aren't we?
every single one of us. And don't forget, subscribe if you haven't. We're here every week with a new episode, a new topic, and a new set of phrases to make your English feel natural, confident, and genuinely yours.
And drop a comment below. We asked at the start, are you more of a big planner or are you a go-with-the-flow type? And has that changed over time? Tell us, we genuinely want to know. This community is one of my favorite things about this channel.
Mine too. All right, until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and remember,
You don't have to have it all figured out to start moving forward. See you in the next one. Bye.
bye everyone.